There's two things I would give you advice on, and one is don't have people in your business. So we were talking about that girl before. You've bought a business so you enjoy going to work and you're not working for someone else. They're essentially just telling you what they want to do. So you should go to work and enjoy it and have fun. And when you got shit staff in there, that's when I hate going to work. Now I enjoy it. I'm back to enjoying it again because we've got a good team. But they shouldn't be allowed to dictate in your business what. But if you start to change the culture slowly and get a few of them on board. I took my dog sheep herding once, and the guy said to me, "Why does it keep on going to bite that sheep?" I said, "I don't know. I fucking can't control it." And he said, "No, that's the leader." He said, "So if you can control that sheep, then the rest of them will just fall into the pack." And he said, "That's why it keeps on going for that, because it can pick up, it can sense that that's the leader." So he said, "So it's like that in your business. You might have one of them that thinks he's really good, and you flick him and just find the person that controls the group, and then they'll just all fall in behind that guy. But you'd have to have, that guy needs to know that you're going to grow him or buy into what he wants, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, the only other one I wanted to just throw in there, it's not... Culture has nothing to do with whether it's employment or rental. If you switch, it still doesn't mean your culture is going to be any good. If you still don't have expectations and core values, if you still don't have a structure of what minimum expectations are, weekly development, it doesn't matter if it's employment or rental. That's not your problem. That's just an option. Is it A or B? You can do well out of both. Yeah.
I think I'm almost done. Events. So I think we had three people into each event, or something, 4 people maybe. A few more, I can't remember now. But that's just that's the culture we want to build. That the guys are going, the clients are going, they're doing extras. They're going to have to train for them so they can eat a little bit more. Those people that got to their goals, those things we were talking about.
Mick, can I just ask? You divided each of the staff, you divided them into teams.
Yep.
But then you're saying that each person had to bring 3.
So yeah.
So did you mean that those teams then delegated?
So they'll come up with it. So with this, the events is usually easier. I'm on the events for our team. So it's easy to walk around and talk to people and say, "Hey, you're going to do the Blackmore's Running Festival?" And they say, "Yeah." And you say, or they say, "No, I'm not doing it. I don't do run. There's the 3K event." So it's easy to do those ones. So they come up with, but for Fergus, the guys that prepared to use their brains a little bit more, they've come up with those ideas to build the community. Fergus and Henna have got ownership of that building communities, but the guys have committed to getting people to their event.
Okay, so Fergus is trying to make other people in the team accountable to bring.
Yeah, so he'll say, we've planned this event for the month and it's going to be breakfast or it's going to be barefoot bowls or whatever, and then he'll say, "You guys have to get those numbers to the event now that you promised." And he'll just keep them at, hey, your team, Tim and Bailey, have you guys got your 6 people? And if they say no, you say go and find them, you're committed to it. So it makes it easier for Fergus to kind of, not discipline them, but make sure that they keep them accountable. Sales, what's that? Okay, yeah, I'll show you at the end. But there's not really a penalty, but it lets the team down. So we were talking about before how we win. If everyone does their job, so if they block or they shoot, we win. Sales, so that's referrals. So they said that they can get 2 referrals in the next 3 months each, so 4 referrals from the team, I think it worked out. Might have even been 1, but we just said, who cares? It's 14 that we don't need to get.
It is better than none.
Yeah. So if they're prepared to ask one client, and that's one client less that we have to chase or find. All right. Oh no, maybe it's not on the end. Anyway, so we're going to take him to your place, Hunter Valley. So we told him that this is another thing I've learned over the time is I've just given them the end point, but now we're going to scale it. So we've done it purely so if everyone hits their goals, that we'll scale it so it's PaySmart's 30, I think we said 36, 38, 39, so we're sitting at 35 now. So we'll take them to the Hunter Valley, right? And then if they get to 37 or whatever it was, we'll pay for their food and drink the whole time. So it's all expenses. And then if they hit the top one, 39, we're going to do something like skydiving or... Fergus is scared of heights, so am I, so... or paintball or something like that, or hot air ballooning. Also scared of... This is
weekly
at the end of the 3 months.
Yep.
So, yeah, weekly billing. If they can get them, so if they're doing all their jobs, the business should grow. So if they can get to those PaySmart goals, which naturally will happen anyway coming through spring, we're a good chance of achieving it. So we're a good chance of achieving the first one without the alignment, but if we can get, so we'll take them away, but if we can get above, and then we'll buy them the food and drink, and we'll shut the gym, we'll go away for 3 or 4 days or something like that. Yeah.
Random question. Are you transparent with your employees about PaySmart? As in, like, so obviously that's like your income is quite a private thing. So do you say, right, when we hit 39k PaySmart, or are you saying you kind of? No,
we're pretty transparent. I think you can be. Like, you've taken a massive risk, right? So you've outlaid whatever you've outlaid to open your business. That's expensive, and then you've got the ongoing costs, rent, wages. You should be and they want to see also that they can go and do it. Like, and I hope that Fergus can go and open his own gym or do whatever he wants.
I suppose leading on to that as well, we have this thing called Boss, which connects all of us to all the other Vision franchises. And I like to use Mick's login and actually see how I'm not our competitors, but my neighbours, so to speak, like how North Strathfield are. They hit an incredible $100,000 a fortnight. So it's actually cool to see how other franchises within the network are performing. And why is say this one doing so bad compared to what we are? And I think I really like how we're really open like that. It shows all the retentions from North Strathfield to Crow's Nest. I think it's pretty open.
Yeah. For the that's a management login, so the staff don't get to see it, but when someone wants to excel, then we let them look at stuff like that because it's good for them to know what they can achieve. And all the people that I've worked with, I've always known what they're earning or not earning, but each week. We've always been close with Steve, and when he was at Manavale, we knew what their PaySmart run was and stuff like that.
Yeah, I encourage it. I think you're teaching them something about business instead of just how to do a group class or how to do a reception, and I think they might get that elsewhere. You don't have to show your BAS statement or your P&Ls or what you're profiting, but again, if you're going to keep them for like 2 years or 3 years and they're going to continue to add value and increase in their responsibilities, it's because you're teaching them something which enables them to go out and maybe do it for themselves or buy into your facility, or there's a bit of a career pathway there. So we're sharing everything at Rush Cutters Health every single week. And not just like an esoteric number, but if we want to grow our billing from here to here, this is the number of members we need to get. To get those members, this is our action plan. So there's actually an understanding of how their role contributes to the team, like in that LA Lakers example.
I also think they're smart enough, they'll end up knowing how many members you've got in the gym and how much generally they pay. They work it out anyway. Because it's just such a number, it isn't less all the costs.
We've got a young kid in the gym, Liam, who's obsessed with numbers, and he told me how much our PaySmart was before he even went into the next role we gave him. Because he went home and worked it out. Like he said, I've done a spreadsheet. I said, that's good, mate, keep it yourself. But you know what I mean? Like, it's he could have just looked like Fergus did. But yeah, so it's that they'll find out, definitely. The other thing I will add on this, if you can get them to go through, and you can change these obviously, there's stuff in there that like you can change and make it like I suppose specific to your studio or gym or whatever it is, but they are learning parts of the business. It's not the hard parts, but they're learning parts of it without knowing. Some people, if you say, oh, well, I'm going to teach you how to run a business, they go, oh, I don't want to run a business. But once you start to take them, so Fergus has probably been through all the stages on those, like sales. He's done a bit of sales. I don't know whether he's done a lot of it. Client issues, credit. He's been through all of them. Seminars, shopping tours. He's done them all. So they learn parts of the business slowly and gradually, and it's not learn the business. So it stresses them out. So they just chunk it a little bit. I think I'm done. Any questions?
Yeah, I think so. How many trainers would you have? Like,
14.
When you run, is that
14 at Lindfield. No, we've got 14 in Lindfield at the moment, and I think we've got 9 at Lane Cove. How many minutes have we got? 30.
That's all right.
Geez, any more questions?
I'll jump in. Mick, do you have a favourite question you like to ask in an interview?
No, I do actually. I like to ask the question, who's your role model? I'm really family, I know, and I probably am a bit soft, but I'm really family orientated. So if someone tells me that their role model is their dad or their mum, or my mum's she's raised us as a single mum, they're the kids I go for. I really like the fact that their mum's gone out, and they're usually really hard workers, and they've got that little bit of drive behind them. But I will not hire someone if they're late, except for Fergie. You were late. What did I tell you?
You're bigger than me, I'll let you
If you don't wrestle me, you can have one more interview. But yeah, I don't like, if people are late, I'll give them a chance, but if they're late again, or if they're overly late, or they don't have a decent excuse, like if there's traffic, it's not an excuse.
Why were you late? Did you have one excuse?
No, I was still making had to make me mum breakfast.
Yeah. Pulled the heartstrings. Yeah. Usually I'm pretty like that, but the first judgment call is probably your best one. So if you get in there and think this is not going to last, go with it. Yeah, that's what I've hired the wrong people many a times, and it's worked. Well, you get in there and you put them on the floor, and then all of a sudden they've got 15 clients. They've created their little wolf pack, and then you lose all those clients anyway, and the staff usually hate them. And it just causes that, well, it makes you look stupid. Yeah.
Oh, one quick last one. I think it was one all the way back is the one-on-one meetings that you're doing, and in our structure where the one's on rental as opposed to within your business, would you still try and do your one-on-ones with your PT rentals?
100%.
There's a need.
Well, unless you don't want them to follow your team rules or
That's it.
or
That's
get
what
better
I reckon
or
it should. That's where I'm at.
But because they all work themselves, they don't really want me to know if they've got 20 clients or 5.
Yeah.
They don't really care.
But I think that's the headspace we've just got to shift, is that, well, if it's rental, it's easy and I pretty much just let them run their own race. And a lot of the challenges you're experiencing is not because it's rental, but because of the stigma associated that we don't do anything for them. At the end of the day, like sporting teams, like the Lakers, for example, they're rental. Like you're essentially paying them a certain amount of money for them to come in, and you could just say, well, see you on Saturday at the game. Or you could say, look, we're still going to get together. You're really good at that. I want you to buddy up. We're going to do some training. We're going to, I still think there's an opportunity to improve the quality of them.
They're not secretive. They just don't tell me stuff. I just don't ask anymore.
Yeah, I worked as a PT when I worked for other people with wages compared to a contractor, and I loved being a contractor, but I went to all the team meetings as development. I didn't get paid for it just because I wanted to learn. And I found it that was the best way to do it. I think because they wear your shirts.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
absolutely.
It's like if someone's renting a building, you're still renting, you still got to go sort of policies on how to run that building, you know what I mean? So I think, but you want to retain them. If they're good and high earners, you want to retain them.
So I think they're just out there floundering and they've got no direction, and they're going to be the
Yeah.
ones that are going
They're
to
probably,
go somewhere else and
yeah.
find structure, because it's not.
But yeah, if they're doing their own rental, like I remember doing it, there was 4 of us that were high earners, and then there was the 4 that were just like, you know, all the high, like, you know what I mean? It was a good culture. We, for a few, like, but we went to team meetings, one-on-ones, and it was, you learned so much, and
Okay.
don't think just because they're rentals that they're,
In your spare time.
This is what I always ask, so I reckon, with everyone likes progression, right? So if I was to tell you you have to go to work tomorrow and you're going to earn the same amount of money every week for the next 10 years, would you keep going? No. So it's the same as them, like they want to see that they're getting better. If you give them that time, they'll buy in. Yeah, it's hard to get your head around because they are, all personal trainers are secretive. You can't know what's going on. Especially at night, we go home, they could be showing up 5 minutes late, 2 minutes before their session, not doing the exercises that we prescribe.
That's why we put them on rent, because I didn't want to have to watch what everyone was doing, and I used to work for someone else too, and I was just pocketing money. I wasn't even telling them I was training them.
I never did that. I
And
loved
heaps
it.
of
I
people
loved
do
the
that. So I
development.
was just like, pay
Yeah.
me, I don't even have to watch them.
Yeah,
But
but
you get the
if you're trying to
feeling.
change the culture, you'll have to.
Just tell them.
From a non-PT side, they're still your members of the gym, though. And that's who they're dealing with.
That's right.
And if you don't know what's going on, and someone
then-
pays for 10 but only gets 8,
Yeah.
That's true.
that person that goes out to Coffs Harbour who knows everyone,
Yeah.
he's going to say, whatever the name of your gym, he's written me off 2 sessions, not Fred Smith.
Remember at the start of the day we said that if you want something different, you've got to be prepared to try something else. I think there's going to be a few things like this discussion now and tomorrow where you'll go, I can't even imagine making that change or going through the process. But ultimately it's exactly the same, more of what we're getting, or we look at other opportunities. So we can work more on your specific facility. We can talk about strategies around certain staff, and we can do that in one-on-ones. But I love the fact it's challenging you, and you're thinking, well, what's going to be hard? What have I got to actually get through? And what are the benefits if we do get through? I reckon that is the biggest cap on your business right now. Not the number of leads you're getting in, not
The business is solid.
how good your classes are, but if that's the culture the way you've described it, the members must feel it. They must feel it.
They love the gym, like the whole culture of the gym's bang on. It's just, you're just not sure what those few PTs are sort of portraying or putting out there, because they're just, sessions come in, they waltz in pretty much straight behind it and back out the door again.
None of them hang around, they just do their clients out.
But it's not their fault. That's what
That's
they've
right.
been
Yeah,
told
exactly.
their role involves. I've done the rental model, and I've walked in those gyms, and you kind of, you have to go and find a senior trainer and say, hey, do you mind showing me a couple of things? Like if you want it, you can see Fergus, just even if you forced him to, he couldn't be that guy.
Yeah.
So there's something in the recruitment model that we can improve by hiring and attracting like-minded people, because he's just not going to be that guy that says, oh, I don't care, and walking out. It doesn't matter what you say. So part of it's just going back down the actual pyramid. The other part's some development and that along the way. It's any more questions for Mick?
If it scares you though, I recommend doing it. Yeah, because it'll make it worthwhile once you, in the end.
Challenges will.
I'll tell you a story before I finish. I told my brother when Steve rang me, he said, because I hate public speaking and he always makes fun of me. And I said, when Steve rang and said, do you want to talk? I was about to say no. And I thought I'll put myself and have a crack at it. And Chris said, are you taking a spare pair of undies? Right? Because he knew I was going to be nervous. But it's good. And it's good for Fergus to come along. Like Steve said, he can bring someone. I thought, it's good. I'm glad it's over.
And you done really well.
Really good.